Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Hello, listeners. How there? Good morning and welcome to the midweek edition of Inside Nigeria at the Leadership Podcast Studio this Wednesday morning of August 18, 2021. And of course, I have my co-host this morning in the studio with me, Winifred Obeba. Winifred, good morning.
Good morning, Bode. So nice to be here.
Thank you. We are back to Inside Nigeria.
Yes.
How do you feel?
Great.
All right.
Great. Especially with the headlines we have shooting out from all papers today.
So let's go there. And of course, before we go there, of course, we have somebody who will be helping us to analyze this front page story this morning. And of course, he's our regular analyst too, an Abuja-based public affairs analyst, Samaila Musa. Samaila, welcome to Leadership.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you.
Well, viewers, as usual, we are starting with the Leadership. And Leadership is Nigeria's most influential newspaper. On the front page of Leadership this morning, insecurity, Tofa, Yayale Ahmed, Jega, Agwai, others move to save the North. Insecurity, Tofa, Yayale Ahmed, Jega, Agwai, others move to save the North. And of course, Tofa is the former presidential candidate of the defunct National Republican Convention, NRC, Alhaji Bashir Usman Tofa. And of course, Ayali Ahmed, the former head of civil service of the Federation and the former secretary to the government of the Federation. Jega, we know who is Jega, the immediate past INEC chairman, Professor Atahiru Jega. And of course, Lieutenant General Martin Luther Agwai, the former defense chief, as well, and other people from the North are coming together on a platform to save the North from its numerous crises. Samaila, what is your take on this latest move?
Okay, I think it's a good move and also in the right direction, especially considering the fact that the insecurity issue is actually affecting the North more than any other place at this time. I mean, for the past few years, the North has actually been the worst hit in terms of insecurity. And if eminent Nigerians, these are people who have actually paid their dues, who have served in different capacities, moving this country forward. I think it's a really commendable effort. But the only problem I have is, I see some of them also have political ambitions. If this move is genuine, no any political motive behind it, why not? Because most often when people come up like this, especially when election year is approaching, you begin to ask questions that where were they before? But I mean, it's good. It's never late. It's never too late. But if that motive, because what can make them to lose credibility is by the time people started seeing some form of campaign going in alongside this move to see that they save the North, that really can snowball and actually backfire. So if it's actually genuine without any political motive, it's actually a welcome development, and that's the right thing to do at this time.
But is it right to actually read any political meanings to it, whether they have political ambitions or not? Is it not the peace they are aiming for that matters
that's the
for
problem.
the region?
That's why that genuine intention is very important, because when you see politicians are never to be trusted. I mean, we won't be here where we are if actually they have always been genuine. There's no genuine intention most times. So when people come out like this, because you see, it might be just a decoy. The headline about we're trying to salvage the North might be a decoy.
A camouflage.
Camouflage.
To do something.
To do something. So by the time people started noticing what you are trying to achieve is more prominent than the headline. It's you gave it ab initio. It's lost its credibility, and people who have built that hope in you that if this kind of this caliber of people are coming to save the North, why not? They also begin to feel okay, is this where you are leading us? And I'll tell you, quite a lot of people will prefer these people to spearhead looking for peace or salvaging the North rather than have them as their political leaders. You understand? So they will also lose those those kind of people in their groups to say, no, we only like you because of your credit. Not, but I don't see you being my political leader because I don't see you, doing anything in the area of politics that will actually be meaningful at this time. So there are a lot of issues to it. But genuinely, if that's what they are coming to do, it's a welcome development and everybody will embrace it. Because I would rather prefer the politicians to just go marry their politics and leave this. Because that divisive tendencies, most of them, they always feel, oh, these people will never vote for me. So whatever it is that I'm coming to do does not affect them. Because in the long run, I'm not going to benefit. So because once you have that motive that you are after the end, I mean, your own personal gain, interest is coming first, it's going to really be a big spanner in this.
Yesterday, what they told us was that the Abuja Roundtable, which they just formed, is a non-governmental, independent, and non-partisan approach to help other existing platforms to help achieve peace in the north. Yes, so I think we can only believe their words for now to see where they will head to.
But like what he just said, but do you think they'll be able to achieve much without including the politicians who are the real actors?
Yeah, what I'm saying is let them spearhead this move. They can't include the politicians. Of course, they can't achieve much without including the politicians. But their own motive, because everybody claims to be smart, so we understand. So the politicians are also saying, as they're approaching them, they're also saying that you are not coming for this peace. Rather, you are coming to garner support for yourself. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand.
So let it be that, you really want to put the North in order. You really want to tackle this insecurity once and for all. You understand? So that we all put our hands on deck to do the same thing. You understand? Because that's what everybody is praying for. I mean, the only people that will go against this kind of move are people who are actually benefiting from the crisis. So other than that, nobody. But I'm just saying the only thing that can set them back is for them to now begin to do politics.
From their core mandate. We need to move.
Yes. We want to take cover story from the sister publication, National Economy. National Economy has on its cover today, poor logistics capacity poses competitive disadvantage for Nigeria in AfCFTA market. I read it again. Poor logistics capacity poses competitive disadvantage for Nigeria in AfCFTA market. That is Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. It's quite long, but that is what it means. So poor logistics. So it's goes on Nigeria now to explore or find a way of taking care of those logistics error.
Yes, Amanda, I know this is not new. We always have poor road networks, telecommunication, and the rest of them. And what this report is actually trying to project is that the Continental Agreement, we stand a great chance of maximizing profit from it. But if we are able to put our house in order, for example, look at the notorious Oshodi Apapa Expressway that has always caused gridlock in Lagos. You understand? And I think as we speak, a task force has been working to make sure that the gridlock is no longer there. Then the road is being fixed so that trucks can go to the ports in record time, pick goods, deliver them to the interlands, and make business activities to actually move the way it should be. So, what is your own take?
Yeah, you see, it's been a major problem in Nigeria
over the years.
Really, it's really been a constant key thing that especially exporters and even people who apply within just delivering goods within Nigeria have always complained about. In so many cases, you find, in fact, there's also a road, or there was a road on this Makwa road to Jeba, where for so many years, people will have to return back to the north because of accident there. They cannot move from there, and the goods they are carrying have the number of days it can really spend. I mean, you can imagine somebody moving tomato from Sokoto or something, and he gets there to spend another 1 week on the road. He just stuck in one place. There's no point moving forward. So that has actually been a major problem, and over the years, government seems not to be paying much attention to fixing all the roads and all of that. What they do more of talking about encouraging these people, but rather not doing the same thing. And you see, when you talk about now we're bringing this to Africa, it's putting Nigeria at a disadvantage, really, because you can't compete with another your friend with another person in a neighboring country. You understand? So, and that's why also this brought up also the issue of people saying, oh, when the goods have not been circulated within Nigeria, there should be some regulations that say you can't export it outside Nigeria. But if I'm in Katsina, for instance, and Nigeria is just 2 hours away from me, or 1 hour drive from me, maybe there's a market there where I can easily go. I would rather go there than go to Lagos, where I know I don't have a certainty that I'm going to get there in 2-3 days because I don't know what might happen on the road. So really, it's really putting us at a disadvantage, and that really is an area the government needs to do something about. There is no way you can compete with in fact, even the issue of electricity is another issue. It is. Because this also should go into logistics.
Exactly, cost of production.
You understand? So we've seen how so many companies, I can't remember the statistics that say within the social period, number of companies that pack their things from Nigeria and move to Ghana because of power. So really, it's actually a serious setback for us as a country. And it's high time the government begin to look into this and looking for ways to actually fix it once and for all. Other than that, we will see people even moving in their droves away from that. And unfortunately, we are now even at a time where we have so much food insecurity in the country. So if you are now having this problem coupled with the food insecurity for so many reasons, then that means the multiplier effect is going to triple, really. So it's an area that it really needs urgent attention.
Okay, but I think it's also important we let our listeners also know that government is doing a lot in the area of rail transportation, Winifred.
Oh, yes.
The present Buhari government is doing a lot.
He is.
In rail transportation, yes. And even the roads, they are fixing some of them.
And if they can link this rail in most of these commercial states,
exactly,
go a long way.
Lagos, Kano,
and I think they need to do more.
Yes, they need to do
more of cargo.
Exactly.
In terms of the rail.
In order to actually protect the road.
Yeah.
All right, Samala, we need to move away to the next newspaper on our menu for today, and that is the Nation newspaper. On the front page of the Nation this morning, the lead story says, Governors pick 6 holes in Petroleum Industry Act. Governors pick 6 holes in Petroleum Industry Act. And of course, Petroleum Industry Act 2021 is the same as PIB that the president just assented to 2 days ago. But the governors are already kicking. You know what that means. And I think one genuine area is the ownership of the NNPC.
Yes, but I saw it and I was like, oh, some papers have still not moved away from yesterday's headline.
It's a developing story.
PIB. It's a developing one. Yes. And the governors, before the signing in, they also made their own recommendations.
Yes.
And from what I saw, the governors are saying that it does not give any responsibility to state governors.
In the area of sharing of money.
Yes, they will not benefit. That is just for federal government alone. And how
before
states
now,
are...
NNPC used to be a government entity.
Yes.
But with the passage of the PIB into law, NNPC is now a commercial entity.
Limited to.
Yeah, exactly. So now the stake in NNPC is now being owned by federal government and some commercial or private entities. Now, it means if the stakes are not being controlled by the federation again, the returns will only go to the federal government.
Exactly.
But if it's for the federation, the 3 tiers of government will be entitled. So these people are crying over money.
Yeah, exactly. That's my take. Because you see, most times when you see governors forum coming together to issue statements, you always know that it's about their own interests that comes first, really, because you will believe that most of them will also attend executive council meetings and everything. Most of these things are done right in their presence. Some of these decisions are taken right there. Maybe for whatever reason, they're probably not saying the right thing to the president at the time of those kind of meetings. I don't know. But you see, they always come together to issue statements so that the people will hear that they are crying out, but the times they do that actually has to be a time where it affects what comes to them.
Not the general populace.
Not the general populace, really. It's sad if we have governors, but the first and foremost, I think it's commendable that the president eventually signed the PIB because I mean, if after more than 40 years, the last time this
it's more than 40.
Yeah, I
Since
think it was
1967.
So really, if this
is coming, any major attempt,
you understand. So it's actually a right step in the right direction. I think maybe another government after this 2023 will come in to also look at some other areas that have not been touched. We should be having this kind of things from time to time. Because times are changing. You understand, and sometimes you need to consider some agitations so that it becomes something else in the future.
Yes.
But of course, you see. And again, I think what I heard one of the governors also, his own issue is about the 3% going to
Niger Delta people,
to Niger, the communities, and all of that.
He's not alone.
Yeah, to a large extent, it will cause a lot of problem, I believe, because if you going back to the antecedents of how so many things have gone, especially in the Niger Delta, you will know that this is also going to cause another problem because some people have always feel changed. So some people would now be like, now this 3%, let's know what goes to who. And greed will always come into play, and that might lead to serious crisis.
And with the 3%, a governor like Wiki was complaining that it ought to go to them to know how to disperse it, not for the
communities directly.
Exactly.
That's another issue. And yesterday, we spoke with a senator on this program who also expatiated that, people are only fixated on the 3% stake for host communities. There are a lot of goodies in the petroleum law meant for the Niger Delta region, but people are just being carried away to say, no, 3% is not enough.
I think they also mentioned that there's another between 2% or thereabout of all expenditure.
Penalties for gas flaring. Yes. We also go to them. This is aside the constitutional 30% derivation fund to the Niger Delta State, the NDDC, the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, the amnesty program. You understand? And it has been estimated that even this 3% for communities is about $500 million a year. It's enough for development.
It's enough for development.
Corruption.
If it would be channeled appropriately,
exactly,
the right people will get the right thing, because that is the only way that you can say, stop agitations. Some people might carry arms eventually if they feel changed with this process. So really, the government need to intervene. I don't really, most times, it's sad that you see Nigerians, we really cannot organize ourselves. In any way you go, you can be in a gas station trying to queue for fuel. Somebody is saying about 5 cars, but he feel, no, I can't stay behind these 5 cars. And also, really, it's a difficult thing for us. Our mentality, we can't really arrange ourselves. Nobody wants to do the right thing except being enforced. You understand? So government need to step in to make sure that the people who will be saddled with distributing this money do
accountability. The right I served in River State, and funnily enough, and that was many years ago, do you know that most of these oil companies they pay some landlords?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pay the youths just to get.
So you cannot even do. Do you know if you are given a contract to execute in any of those communities, you have to pay them.
Exactly.
Yes.
You are bringing development to them, but you have to pay before you even start any work.
No, incidentally, I also served in the Niger Delta. I served in Bayelsa.
Okay.
Yes, I saw it for myself.
It's appalling. They should hold their people accountable. What are you doing with the money? These monies that
and I'm of the opinion too, like you are saying, that I think it is important that Niger Delta people look at the big picture. The PIB is not for Niger Delta. The PIB is for Nigeria.
Yeah.
It is.
Niger Delta is just a part of. Yes. It's not for Niger Delta. It's for Nigeria's development. So that we can maximize profits from our oil.
You are part of an entity called Nigeria. So the monies that have been allocated, that have been budgeted for all these budgetary allocations to the Niger Delta, what has been done?
And to say the truth, they are going through a lot. Environmental degradation, pollution. Yes, I saw it firsthand. It's happening.
But also, there are so many monies
meant for remediation.
Even from international donors.
Exactly.
I know of one that is about 200 and something billion naira for mopping oil spillage, because that money was set aside to say, oh, we know that the oil companies will take care of spillage, but because they don't do it 100%, this money is meant for the communities, the oil producing, to also use to mop the remaining of this oil spillage. You understand?
I told you about it.
Most of this money goes into some private pockets all the time, yearly, you know.
All right, Samaila, we need to go in a short break. When we come back, we discuss the last paper on our menu for today. We'll be back shortly.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
All right, welcome back to Inside Nigeria. And of course, I'm still with my co-host, Winifred Ogbebo. And Samaila Musa, Abuja-based public affairs analyst, is with us to dissect some of the front pages on some national dailies. Samaila, before we went on break, we were talking about Niger Delta and Petroleum Industry Act law, but we need to move away to the next paper, Winifred.
Yes, the next paper we are reviewing now is the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian newspaper has on its cover today, despite Petroleum Industry Act, federal government to retain subsidy, sell petrol at 162 naira. Despite Petroleum Industry Act, the federal government to retain subsidy, sell petrol at 162 naira. That's what we have on the Guardian newspaper today.
Yeah, Samaila, we don't know why what looked like a somersault is trying to, a policy somersault is trying to happen, because with the passage of the Petroleum Industry Bill into Petroleum Industry Act 2021, ordinarily it should be a new regime of full deregulation of the petroleum sector, and with the deregulation of the sector, there won't be fuel subsidies. But yesterday, when the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources was speaking to the press about the timelines for the bill to be operational, he was saying he cannot categorically say when petroleum subsidy will go. And now the Guardian is saying, well, despite a new law, there may still be subsidy and petrol will be sold at 162 naira.
Yeah, well, it's obvious because the governors have actually been at the forefront of the removal of subsidy. You know, we also some people who are also maybe some experts in the area of economy are also pushing for the removal of subsidy. But whatever it is, I think the timing is quite ill. Like it shouldn't be the right time. This is one of the most difficult time in this country.
So what should be the right time? What should be the right time?
Well, government should look for a way, like the headline we just finished dissecting, or previously about the logistics issue.
Mm-hmm.
You see, there is already hardship in the land because food. I'm telling you today that so many families cannot even afford to buy beans. If you are eating beans today, you are a rich man. These were foods that ordinarily back in the days was something that belongs to the poorest of the poor.
Yeah.
You understand? For more than 1,000 naira for a mudu, the kids are on holidays and everything. Most of the families, the kids alone will eat more than a mudu a day. Some families don't. The breadwinner doesn't earn 1,000 naira a day. You understand? So the times are already hard, and with the removal of subsidy already, the multiplier effect on petroleum in Nigeria, you always know the effect. You understand? So let's look for how are we going to solve this issue of food problem, and then probably when there's some kind of a relief in that regard, then you can now do this so that already ordinarily food the cost of food will go up because
Definitely.
once transportation goes up, it will definitely go up. But if it's coming at this time, really, I can tell you, you're going to buy a mudu of beans for like 3,000 naira eventually.
Well, it's like we are shying away from the evil
Exactly.
day, or running away from the evil
Evil
day, or
day.
shying away from reality.
That is it.
Because in the first place, what necessitated for a subsidy? It is because we are importing fuel. And this is what we have in abundance in our soil, within our soil. But the refineries are there, comatose, they are not functional, we have to import. And we know what this subsidy is causing. Corruption regime is there. Product diversion is there. So are we going to continue this way?
Well, the problem is, you see, the present president has criticized previous governments on this issue
For
of
subsidy payment.
He came on board and then he realized it's not as easy as he thought. you understand? But most importantly is what you just mentioned about the issue of our refineries.
Yes.
I do not know what needs to be done, or why is it so difficult for someone of Buhari's pedigree, after being conversant with that industry, that sector, and also the substantive minister of petroleum. Still, after even his stints at PTF, still do not feel the right way to go is actually to even make one
Out of the four
functional, so that we begin to look at, okay, see, is this easy? Our refineries, most of it, they are obsolete.
And that was one of the campaign promises.
You understand? So really, and they have 2 years to go now. I do not see any magic that's going to happen.
You'll be struggling on how
They'll
to
be
win the
struggling.
re-election.
Yeah, and
Other
especially
parties.
now that this thing is going into private hands, Nigeria is in for big trouble, because most of these guys don't really. They feel, me, I'm a businessman. I don't care who dies.
It should be capitalism.
You understand?
It should be capitalism.
So really,
profit maximization.
that's the thing.
All right, Samaila, many thanks to you for joining us this morning. And of course, Samaila Musa is an Abuja-based public affairs analyst.
Nice
We go on a
having
short
you.
break,
Thank you.
and when we come back, we will take the discussion to another level.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the discussion segment of Inside Nigeria this morning. And of course, joining us now to dissect another issue, or a topical issue on the North and the search for peace and development is an Abuja-based public affairs analyst and syndicated columnist, Majid Dahir. Majid, welcome to Leadership Podcast.
Thank you very much for having me today.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
All right, Majid, yesterday we saw a new move called the Abuja Roundtable. You must have seen the report led by Alhaji Bashir Tofa, Yarale Ahmed, Professor Atayu Jiga, General Martin Luther Agwe, and the rest of them. This Abuja Roundtable has been formed to actually be a new initiative, non-governmental, independent approach to salvage the North from its security challenges. So this morning we're going to look at this latest move.
Yes, you're welcome once again.
Thank you very much.
The North has been in power longer than other regions in the country, yet is the least developed. So how come the people are not speaking power, truth to power?
Well, I think that has to do with the nature of the Nigerian politics. Nigeria is a country that is not yet a nation, and we have not moved fast in our journey towards national state. So 1 year after independence. So our politics in Nigeria is still fundamentally driven by primordial sentiments of ethnicity, religion, and geography of origin. And so people have a tendency of not telling truth to power, especially when their own is in power, in order not to portray their own as not doing well or put them in bad lights. But unfortunately, that is the consequence that all of us are now facing, both in the North and across the country as a whole. It is true that the North has been in power longer than any other region in the country, and is even perhaps interested in holding on to power beyond 2023. Now the question is, of what use is political power without socio-economic development? As rightly observed, the North ranks very low when it comes to human development on all indices as a matter of fact. And today, Nigeria is ranked as the third most diverse country in the world, and that is because of the insecurity in northern Nigeria. Today, Nigeria is the poverty capital of the world. That is because of the poverty in northern Nigeria. Nigeria today is said to have over 30 million children out of school. So, northern Nigeria system of Nigeria. So we can go on and on. Nigeria today is plagued by polio because of northern Nigeria. So you begin to wonder how come there is no correlation between political power and socio-economic development. You see, that is because you cannot develop any region, any part of Nigeria along sectional lines or along regional lines. What Nigeria requires rather, is a pan-Nigerian development strategy that is integrated, that carries along the entire country without leaving any section behind, for the purpose of global competitiveness. Nation states, modern nation states, actually are those that are competing amongst themselves in the international arena for global resources. And so you must sharpen your knife, sharpen your edges, dot your I's and cross your T's internally through a very cohesive national policy that unites the country around that pan-Nigerian agenda or that nationalistic agenda for global competitiveness. So when you do that, you're able to attract revenue from global trade to such an extent that it grows your national wealth, it brings in prosperity for citizens, and there will be enough money to solve some of these problems. But what you have today is that because of the identity politics that were played in Nigeria, the focus is inward. So you see, you have the various ethnic groups in Nigeria competing amongst themselves for Nigeria's internal resources. And we're talking about 2 million per day, 2 million per day, 2 million barrel per day oil money, essentially. So for 200 million people, the focus is how do we each get advantageous share of the revenues from this one resource.
That is it.
So the national cake is actually static or even shrinking, and it's not growing, and we have a growing population. So you discover that because what is fueling Nigeria's economy is this same oil resource, revenue from oil resources. It's no longer enough to even take care of the northern region, even if you hold on to power. So you see there's an urgency now to expand this national cake, and the way to do it is to break the barriers of ethnicity and religion and politics, have Nigerians united around the common cause, and let the political players play with ideas, competitive ideas, on how to grow a united, prosperous, and strong Nigeria, rather than how to begin to think how to corner the national cake for the of the country. That cake is shrinking. It's no longer enough. It's no longer going around. And so the contradictions we are seeing across the country by way of insecurity, poverty, corruption. Identity politics is a major enabler of corruption. Makes it impossible for development, even if you hold on to power longer than 100 years from now, you won't have development. So this is the basis in my understanding of why the North is still where it is, despite holding on to power longer than any other region in Nigeria.
So Majid, from your narration, in fact, you said it all, the causative factors and everything responsible for insecurity and underdevelopment in the North. But why has previous attempts, like just this latest Abuja roundtable, have failed to address these problems?
So there's no sincerity of purpose. And I hope and I pray that the Abuja roundtable will truly understand that it will not be well with northern Nigeria if it is not well with Nigeria. And it will not be well with Nigeria until Nigeria becomes a country where social justice, fairness, equity reigns. And so our all attempts now towards finding a solution to northern problem should be one that should be within the framework of a pan-Nigerian strategy for national development. Regional exceptionalism has done no region in Nigeria any good, especially northern Nigeria. We used to have northern agenda. Northern agenda, for certain concern, was simply an attempt at dominance, domination of other groups over the control of the national cake. And like I said earlier, the national cake itself has shrunk so much that even when you dominate and control it, you now have an indebted country at your hands. You have a country that cannot pay its bills. You have a country that is borrowing to pay debts. You have a country that cannot take care of its citizens, even in northern Nigeria, because no effort has been put into baking the national cake. But all effort, all attempts, all energy has been deployed towards sharing the existing national cake. And so this group of distinguished elder statesmen from northern Nigeria have taken the right step, but it must be done with sincerity of purpose. It is good that they have acknowledged that today it appears as though northern Nigeria is the problem of Nigeria. And not because northerners want to be so, but it is because of circumstances that we've gone through over the last 61 years. It has somehow positioned northern Nigeria in a position of disrepute of some sort. Look, let me put it this way. The problems you see in northern Nigeria today, ranging from insecurity, poverty, and general economic dislocation, actually functions of two major issues. First, regional exceptionalism. This idea of this that we should be taken as Ariwa agenda and northern Nigeria within the Nigerian nation has failed the North.
Every other region has similar thing.
Yeah,
Like
and that's
Niger
also
Delta,
failed. I agree with you.
Yoruba
You said
identity.
this regional identity
It has failed the North even more.
Even Niger Delta has failed them.
It has failed the
Development.
Jonathan was president for 5 years plus.
And there was this entitlement.
East-West Road wasn't complete.
Exactly.
Obasanjo was president for 8 years.
Lagos Ibadan Road.
Lagos Ibadan
But
Road
it
was
was
not completed. And so the story remains the same. Today, President Buhari has been in power for 6 years, and none of the key problems of northern Nigeria, ranging from poverty, disease, educational backwardness, insecurity, has been solved. It has gotten worse under President Buhari. So it is time to begin to look at the Nigerian history. But unfortunately, regional exceptionalism has been a bane on northern Nigeria particularly. It is stronger in the north because there is an attempt to hold on to the fresh public structure of the old northern region, even in terms of political engagement. And that has actually not worked. Because you need Aba to help develop Kano. Because the heights and skin from Kano needs to be finished in Aba for export. So you need internal integration. You need to break down the barriers of integration through ethnicism and religion. Secondly, another problem that actually derails the North today is that of religious extremism. That's actually defined by Islamic separatism. Boko Haram insurgency you see today is a byproduct of religious extremism and Islamic separatism in northern Nigeria that has been rife for more than half a century. And if it's not checked, the war will go on beyond the 10 years we have been in this war. The example of Afghanistan is clear for what you see today. The ideology driving Boko Haram insurgency is one that is embedded even in the mainstream Muslim theocracy, or theology, I mean to say. And so there's a need for this group of people to begin to reverse these two tendencies. We need to reverse the tendency of northern regional exceptionalism, northern isolation, and the idea that it has to be northern Nigeria first. It has to be Nigeria first. Now, we also need to reverse every embellishment of religious extremism in northern Nigeria. It has been a useful tool for political mobilization by the elite.
Yes.
But it has become a self-immolation enterprise for us in the north, and it needs to be reversed actively. And I expect this group to advocate for that reversal beginning from now, while we still have the time to remedy. Now, if you look at another theater of war that is threatening to engulf the north and probably the entire Nigeria, is the issue of harassment crisis, harassment terrorism. That again is being fueled by something that we're not talking about yet: cross-border ethnic nationalism.
Yes.
When you have this affinity with people of your tribe across the border and less attachment to members of the same Nigerian community of different tribes, you have the problem of porous border and easy movement of bandits, criminals, terrorists into Nigeria. And Nigeria being an rich country, we have all money. We should allocate money every month. Nigeria is now a huge criminal franchise for cross-border bandits. And that is the major incentive for continual banditry you are seeing across the land. Because Nigeria is the only country in West Africa, or even in Africa, that you kidnap people and within 48 hours, millions of naira are paid in ransom money. I don't think there's another country where that happens.
Thereby creating a violence economy.
In fact, it's like a war economy as we speak. But what is aiding this is cross-border ethnic nationalism. This transnationalism, ethnic nationalism, is aiding and abetting the situation. And now, I describe these three factors as the self-immolation of northern Nigeria, the cultural and religious self-immolation of northern Nigeria. But unfortunately, the self-immolation of northern Nigeria is actually threatening to incinerate the entire Nigeria. And that's what people are asking for restructuring. People are asking for even secession. People are saying, look, we can no longer endure the incineration arising from the self-immolation of northern Nigeria. And this expedition is not going to go away. And so the Abuja Roundtable has a lot on its plate. If it really wants to tackle this issue, it has to look deeply, conduct widely, and take responsibility for the problems in northern Nigeria that are bedeviling the entire country. Today, all of Nigerians, men, women, children, are paying the price for some of these issues. The book of insurgency is being fought by collective resources in terms of human and material. And so, for how long will this Nigeria continue to sacrifice and endure the incineration arising from the northern Nigeria self-immolation? This is a question that is going to bog Nigeria for some time to come, and it will create more instability, except people in that same region, as the Abuja Roundtable is about to do, begins to take responsibility and speak to these issues and lead the way into finding solutions to these problems in the north that poses existential threat to the Nigerian state today.
All right, let's look at the personalities of the people involved. Mahmoud Yahali Ahmed, a former head of the civil service of the Federation, a former secretary to the government of the Federation. Then Alhaji Bashir Tofa, the presidential candidate of the defunct NRC in the aborted Third Republic. General Martin Luther Agwai, a former defense chief. Professor Atari Jiga, the middle past INEC chairman, and others. Can we actually trust them for their words?
I think I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. Go the personalities involved. First, I've seen the diversity already. It's a mix of different ethnic groups in the north and religious divides in the north. So that is quite heartwarming for me. And yes, these people are those you can say served in public, in the public space with some level of credibility. Let us take Atahu Jiga, for example. Atahu Jiga is credited with conducting two of Nigeria's most sanitized electoral processes since 1999, when we returned to civil democratic rule. And he has also managed to remain above the fray when it comes to the raging geographic and religious conflicts, even intellectual conflicts happening in the country today. Atari Jega has managed to maintain a nationalistic outlook when it comes to his civil engagement and his participation in the civic space. So to that extent, I think he might have the broad-mindedness to help find a solution to what was created by extreme narrow-mindedness in northern Nigeria. Now, if you also look at somebody like Madam Mahmoud Ali Ahmed, he was former head of service and former ex-GF.
Yes.
Now, Mahmoud also, from what I know about him in the public space, comes across as a nationalist. And I'll say this because when he was Secretary of the Government of the Federation under the Yar'Adua administration, from insider information, we were made to understand that whereas a lot of sultans then in the cabinet, in the Yar'Adua government, we are not so keen on a Jonathan presidency. I mean, they felt they had more loyalty to Yar'Adua, unfortunately not, for what he did in the South, amnesty program, the Ministry of Niger Delta, and his nationalistic tendencies too. So, Southerners were not so keen, even the people of the South were not so keen for Jonathan to take over. It was Northern leaders who are the forefront of calling their own to order and say, look, allow our brother from the South to take over in line with the Constitution, the spirit and the letter of the Constitution. Even though it was not spelled out clearly, as was now later done, but the spirit is, look, when you are not available, let your vice take over. Yala Ahmed played a key role in that process. In fact, Yala Ahmed somehow midwifed, Jonathan's ascendance to acting
He exhibited nationalism. He was
when
nationalistic.
it mattered most. He wasn't considered a member of the cabal that didn't want Jonathan to take over
Or the northern
northern thing. No, he did not. So that remains fresh in that memory. So to that extent, I'm willing to give him the benefit of doubt and trust him as well. And of course, Martin Luther King, he's a general. If there's an institution in the country today that has remained largely apolitical, that has remained largely nationalistic, it is the army. Despite some of the challenges we are facing today, the army has remained somehow the binding force of this country. And Martin Luther King is one of those who rose to the peak of his career as a military officer. He served creditably well and has since his retirement been engaged in peace building efforts across the country and even the globe. In fact, you have a center in Jaji that Dr. Agwai Center for Peace Leadership and Conflict Resolution. So, and he's been playing a lot of role in this respect. So, I expect them and some other people that will join them to bring this impetus, this pedigree, to helping Nigeria now to solve this problem. But like I said, they need to consult widely and they must come with it with sincerity of purpose. They must take responsibility with what has gone on with their region and provide workable solutions by speaking through to the leadership of that region. It's very important to do that now. It's not the time for paperwork. I say this because if anything happens to Nigeria today, God forbid, I believe Nigeria should be a united country. I believe Nigeria should be one. Nigeria is better off as a one country. But this is just my wish. There are factors that are needed to make Nigeria one. You need social justice, and most importantly, you need social justice. You need equity. You need a country where everybody has a sense of belonging. You need the ingredients of egalitarianism to reign in a country before it can become a nation. I'm saying this because if we continue on this path, we have people that are feeling marginalized to sort of extent that they want to see from Nigeria. And if, God forbid, that happens and Nigeria fails, northern Nigeria will fall under the control of Boko Haram in the northeast and the 100,000 strong herdsmen militia in the northwest. Because what is still preventing this from happening today is because Nigeria is united and we are collectively.
The strong armed forces is there.
It's there. So it's an urgency, as you speak. Even in a restructured Nigeria, where you have more devolution of powers and you have something close to resource control, the North might be vulnerable to falling under this group. So, what are those factors that oxygenate violent extremism in northern Nigeria? This group should tackle it head-on. And let me say,
devoid of politics.
It's something they have no choice but to do now to avert northern Nigeria finding itself on the road to Afghanistan. or not of Sudan or Somalia, or any other failed state destination. So it is commendable, and I'm happy it's coming at this time. I will continue to watch developments as they unfold.
Many thanks to you, Majid Jairu, for your invaluable insight into the
Honestly.
quest to search for peace and development in northern Nigeria.
So incisive. It's nice having
And of
you.
course, Majid Jairu is an Abuja-based public affairs analyst and a syndicated columnist. Thank you for joining us this
Thank you
morning.
very much once again.
Winifred,
Thank you
it's time
so
to say
much.
bye-bye.
Yes. Thank you so much, viewers out there, for keeping faith with us. Tomorrow is another day. Bye.
Okay, join us tomorrow for another bumper edition of Inside Nigeria. My name remains Bode Gbadebo. Bye for now.